Yes, it's working. Okay. Good evening, folks. Today is December 17th, 2024. I'm Mark, your host, coming from Baker's Green Acres here in lovely Marion, Michigan. Nice day today. Ooh, my camera's a little off here. We're going to be working on getting another camera. I think this comes out a little fuzzy, and that shouldn't be that way. What a day today. Tuesday. I do have a subject to talk about tonight. I do. But before I do that, I'd kind of like to bring you all up to speed on what's been going on around here. Last week, we don't know what happened, but we could not get this particular, whatever it is, app. I don't know. Jill sets it up for me. I just sit down and hit the go live button. That's all I do. But she couldn't get it to work. So she went to a slightly different one. It looked completely different. And when I hit go live, we just got the circle of death. And I could see people commenting, but, you know, I couldn't do anything. So I sat here for about 5 minutes and it never came on. And so we just had to bag it for the night. Couldn't get it to go. And then she tried it this morning and it's working again. So who knows? The subject for tonight, I'll just kind of brief you a little bit, is focus on reality. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. And I'm just going to tell you what I am doing. Right? And you can do what you want. But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of static out there right before the holidays. A lot of static going on right now. And some of it was entertaining, so it kind of pulls you in, right? Pulls you in. But anyway, let me just tell you about what's going on. I'll bring you up to speed here. I had Matt Kolvac working with us. Actually, it's like I'm working for him because I wind up being the gopher, but he was helping us on the milk house build. More specifically, above the milk house is a room, and it's we're going to build it out to be an apartment. So maybe people can stay there when they come, and, you know, it'll just be like a little living space. And then when my kids come home, they'll have a place to stay. And, you know, it's not going to be any Taj Mahal or anything, but it's turning out really. But anyway, we worked on that. We put 6 days in on that. And if you see it now, the windows are in, the roof's complete, most of the trim is on. It looks really, really neat. And it is transformed the barn a lot. And it really gets me going. Like, there's a lot we could do here. But primarily why we had to do that was because we had to reaccomplish the roof so that the milk house would be protected, so water wouldn't come through the roof. And now that is done, we can complete our insulation work in the milk house, and then we can start to use it. And the whole reason for this is, you know, like I say a lot of times, fortify your position. You know, you can always improve on the process that you're doing. Always. And then once you improve it and then you operate it, it psychs you up because it's like, hey, this is easier now. This is a lot cleaner. It's a lot more streamlined. It takes us less time. Hey, maybe we can milk more cows, you know? And it's just fun. I get a real kick out of it. But Matt was here. We put in 6 days on that project. And let's see, he was with us total of 9. And then 3 days on the property next door. You know, that's our new property. And it has a garage on it. And the old boys that used to own it, they had built kind of an apartment in there, just a little place where they could camp out while they went deer hunting on this land. And it didn't have anything. That's where Covey stayed for 2 summers, or a summer and a half. There was no water. There was electricity. And so my daughter Rachel is in school right now to become a midwife. And so while she's in school, instead of moving out of the house, which she really wanted to do, she's grown up now, 19 years old, doesn't want to live in mom and dad's house. And so she moved over there, but there was no water, there was no bathroom, no shower, none of that stuff. So it's been kind of rough on her. And I will admit I overpromised and underdelivered, because I would say, oh, as soon as I'm done getting the hay in, I'll get over there and get some of this stuff done. And then I would get over there for a while, but then something else would come up that I'd have to do. And, so Matt worked over there and I helped him and the boys helped him. And we got all the drywall up on the new part, which is going to be the big room. It's going to have a little kitchenette in it and wood stove and sink, cabinets, and then the apartment that's existing, we're going to re-insulate it, and that'll be the bedroom. And it's got a little room off of it that makes a really nice bathroom. So we've got the shower in there, the shower stall. And today I put in the valve for the shower stall and got it almost all the way plumbed in, not completely. And then I had to do some other plumbing and some other repair work. And so we got that moved quite a ways. My second oldest son, Joe, came over and helped with the drywalling and the mudding, and he's an expert at it. I mean, an expert now, because he did his house, which was a lot of square feet, and he got real good at it. So he came over and helped us with that, and it looks really, really, really sharp. I think we'll probably be getting it painted by the end of the week and get the windows trimmed, the plumbing complete, the water heater installed. I have the water heater over there. It's sitting on the floor. I'm going to put it in tomorrow, get it all hooked up. It's one of those on-demand deals. So when you turn the hot water on someplace, it comes on. It's electric. So I got to get a 240 volt circuit going. And there is a timeline on this. Okay, so the holidays are coming. And my son, Keith, he's the guy that has been in the Air Force for closing on 2 years. He is in the pararescueman program and doing quite well. Looks like he's going to complete it, and that's really something. But he's met a young lady, and she's going to be coming home with him at Christmas time for us to meet. And so Keith will be staying in the house, and she will be staying over there with my daughter. She'll be here for about 3 or 4 nights. So we don't know her. And in case she's a keeper, I want to make sure she's got a place to use the bathroom over there, instead of the bucket. So there is a time crunch, Rachel's cool with the bucket. But I'd like to have a shower for her and all that stuff, And I want it for Rachel too. It's just that it's now crunch time. And some other information, maybe I should have led with this, but my daughter Rachel is now engaged to be married. Yes, sir. He is a tribe member. His name is Jared Schmiegel. And he started coming around, and it's almost about a year ago. And I confronted him. I said, "What are you doing here? What's your intentions here?" And he says, "I'm going to marry her." Oh, so I guess he was serious, but he's a good guy. He's got good intentions, I think, unless he's a real good actor. So looks like one more kid will be officially out of the house. So it'll just be me and mom and my 2 youngest boys, Jim and Frank. a ways to go. Frank is 13, 15, and I don't know what I'm going to do when they leave. I really don't. I really don't. Because it just seems like we're trying to get to the point where all the construction's done, and then it's just operations, right? We're just operating during the day. Milk the cows, feed the pigs, perform the butchering, run the farm, cut the hay, feed the cows, all that. But right now, we've got 3 major construction projects going on, and it's right on the tail end of 3 others that we've somewhat completed to the point where we're operating them. But I do have something of interest that we experienced yesterday. All right. So the fall before last, so not this fall, but the one before, in preparation for Homestead Hog Harvest, we built a high rail down in the butchering shop area, the new butcher shop area, and I think it's 15 feet. And we have a hoist on there that is electric. So it's a chain hoist, and it's got a control. And it was a pretty expensive unit. But yesterday, we had a cow, and we've known about this situation for a long time, one of our milk cows. And she's a great girl. Great girl. Only thing is, we couldn't get her bred back. She just wouldn't take. And something went wrong in there. She had a calf going, and then when she was supposed to deliver, she went over and over and over. And our AI tech, Dave Armstead, great guy, checked her out and said, "There's no calf in there, and things don't feel right. Things are not where they're supposed to be. Like, her uterus wasn't in the place where it was supposed to be." So he said, "This happens, and she will never breed back." And we even gave her one more try. We did, because we liked her. She was a great big Guernsey, and it was too bad. We really liked her, but this is the way it is on a real farm. So yesterday, we let her come in, as if she was going to be milked, and let her have a little half pail of grain, or a half. And she was tickled pink. And then we put some bread down on the floor and kind of led her out right underneath that hoist. And kabang, I shot her. And, I sat with the boys and said, "Hey, you guys ready for this?" And Frank was kind of, because she's been around here for a long time. I think she's been with us for about 3 or 4 years. And so you get to know her, and she's got a personality on her, and she's a nice girl. Jim was kind of like, "I don't care." He didn't care. So it was kind of a moment. But as soon as the shot goes off, she went down instantly, and her back hoofs were right underneath that hoist. So we gave her a minute, and then bled her out. Perfect situation, because a full-grown cow like that is going to let go of 10 gallons or 12, between 10 and 12 gallons of blood. And so that can be a problem. But it was in a good area, and it went right down the drain, right into our reclaiming system. So it's not like we're going to be spreading that this time of the year, but next spring it'll be nice and bacterially transformed, and we'll get it pumped into the honey wagon and take it out on the field. All right. So when the trauma of it was over, and for me, there really wasn't, because I'd thought through it many, many times. But when the trauma was over and we had her hoisted up, and the 2 boys were going to it with the knives and getting her skunned down, which they did in about a half an hour, we stepped back from it and said, wow, this is slick. Because in the past, something like that was kind of a rodeo. The cow kind of knows something's up. You're trying to get her separated from all of her buds. And she just kind of knows something's up. And with the milk cows, you definitely don't want to shoot one where the other ones can see it, because they really freak. With the beef cows, not so much, because we don't have that kind of contact. I think they react to us. They react to our, scurrying around, and the feeling before you shoot an animal is just, it's high. I mean, my heart rate was definitely up, and I'd prefer not to do it if it was something that I didn't have to do, but I didn't want to push it off on somebody else to do it. So it was done. But anyway, when it was over, and the other cows, we didn't let them into the milk parlor. It was after milking, so they all left. And this one was not milking, so we let her in, and she was by herself, and she thought she was coming in to be milked, even though she didn't have a calf. And so she wasn't alerted. She just thought we were letting her in for treats. And I don't, the lights go out pretty quick when a 30 caliber rifle is hitting you between the eyes. I used an M1 carbine, and I normally I tell you guys that I use 22 mag on everything, but in this case, where I shot her, I wanted her down, and she could have done a lot of kicking and getting stuff thrown around, and I didn't want that. I wanted to make sure that, let's say I missed, let's say I got a bad hit, my 22 mag is a bolt, so I'd have to operate the bolt and then get another shot. And the second shot is hard because then she's moving around, and in distress. I wanted to make sure it was definite. When we're doing pigs, 22 mag is plenty. It's plenty. And the head on a pig is very useful. The head on a cow, we only take the cheeks and the tongue out of it. We don't take the brain. We don't use it. So using a 30 caliber rifle, and it's not like a hunting round, it's a short cased 30 caliber round. M1 carbine is what's called. It's World War II era short rifle, and it's an automatic. So I had more than one round in it. And if I needed another shot, it's right there, So that's why I use that. And I know we kind of talk about this quite a bit, and like, what kind of gun should I use? Well, don't you say that 22 is enough? It is, but in this case, I wasn't concerned about damaging the head, which in the case of a pig, I don't want to blow the head apart. But on a cow, I mean, the area that you're shooting for is about this big, and you got to get through a pretty thick skull. 22 mag will do it. But, I just wanted to be absolutely sure in this case. And I didn't want her to require another shot, right? So that's why I did that. But down she went, started hoisting her up, had just her back barely off the ground, and then started skinning around her legs and around her crotch, and then started taking it down. And as more weight was hanging there from her hide, all you had to do was run a knife around it, and it just fell off pretty much. You had to kind of break it loose with a knife a little bit, and she had some of the yellowish, almost fluorescent fat that I've ever seen on a cow. And it was just delightful to have this new work area We're under a roof. It was a rainy day, right? It was a rainy day. So we were working in relative comfort. I mean, it was warm. It was probably 35 degrees and dry. And as we dropped the hide, we just pushed the button and she went up. And by the time we got her all the way up and her nose was off the ground, that hide was down around her head. And then we just cut it off and then took the head off. And then I took the head to the side and I skinned it back and got the cheeks out of it and then got the tongue out of it. And then that was it. The head went. We don't use much else on that head. So, and I know you can, it's just that she was huge. She probably went 18 or 1900 pounds. Didn't get a weight on her. I don't know. We just didn't. And so there is so much to deal with there. Just so much to deal with. I think I filled 2 totes, and these totes probably hold, I'd say 10 gallons. It's a square tote with just the most beautiful fat from all around. She was very fat inside, and then just under her hide on her belly, she had a lot of fat, and that came off. And that's down on the cutting tables, and I checked it tonight, and it was just beautiful, beautiful stuff. So we're going to get that rendered down. And we've learned a lot about animals and animal fats in the last, I don't know. It seems like it coincided with Robert Kennedy coming online and him going after the seed oils. And we've known that, but I guess we didn't really realize how detrimental the seed oils were to the human body. I never knew that. I knew they weren't good and we didn't digest them well, but I didn't know the I would say the short-term effect. I just didn't know. And I would think, well, I'm just having a thing of fries here with my burger from the restaurant. What the heck? I don't do it all the time. But that's not good. That is not good to eat that seed oil. I'm looking at everything now and determining whether they've used vegetable oil in it. It's not really vegetable oil, it's seed oil, right? But when they like Crisco is made out of the seeds from cotton. When they pick cotton, they separate out the seeds. Well, what are we going to do with these? They squish them, they get this oil out. They used to use it for machine oil, but there's too much. And so they started to, I know, we'll feed it to the peasants. We'll just tell them it's good for them. We'll tell them animal fats are bad and vegetable fats are good. That makes sense, right? It sounds right. You don't want to be eating lard. So you can see what they did. And I grew up during that era. My mother wouldn't feed us butter. She wouldn't let us kids have butter. We could have margarine because butter it's too fat. You know, it'll give you heart disease. It's just bad. So eat margarine, right? And I hated that stuff. And I've always liked butter, and I've never held back when it came to eating butter. It never felt to me like my intuition. I never felt like this is bad for me. I never felt that way. Never, ever. And then come full circle and we find out, oh no, butter's good for you. So long as it comes from, cows that are fed correctly and things like that. So anyway, that's what we did yesterday. And then last night we had steaks. We hadn't had steaks in quite a while. We took one of the tenderloins out. It was about 2 feet long, and it was about that big around. And so Jill cut us steaks last night and fried them in butter. And we haven't had beef like that in a long time. We've been out of beef. It seems like a long time. Maybe it's just about 6 weeks, but I've been eating a lot of pork and a lot of chicken, and it just doesn't do it for me. It just doesn't. I can eat it, and I know it's better than Cheetos, but beef jives with me. And I felt good this morning. And I've had that carnivore calm all day today. I've been calm, where I know when I'm eating a lot of pork, I'm not as calm. I I know it. So that's what we did. And I stepped back from the process, and I thought, yeah, we could do a lot more of this. And it just confirms internally that we made this this big project of building this rail and the overhang. It was a serious project. And yeah, I'm glad we did. I'm glad we did. In the past, it's been kind of a rodeo shooting cows and then having to get them out of there with the loader and on the ground, and the front of it. Tractor doesn't like to move too good. You can get stuck, and then you got to get the plow truck out, and it just can turn into a rodeo. And who wants to go into something like that? I just prefer things to go smooth, because we are working with guns and knives and heavy animals. It needs to be as smooth as possible, and then you approach the job like a professional, like what you're doing, instead of it's just a one-off, we're just going to do one. All right, so that's, and then milking's going really good. We are not in the milk house yet. We walk through there every day to get to the milk parlor, and so we're used to it. It's heated. There's water in there, but we're not processing the milk in there yet. We got the refrigerator moved in there today, which meant that we had to get another refrigerator for the store, which we got, and it's nice, and we've got it configured now so we can keep all the milk in there for our daily customers. So there's two ways that it works. We do a milk run twice a week in Cadillac, and that's like 20 minutes from us, and it's a big town. I think they're flying drones over Cadillac. There's 10,000 people, so there's more than enough people there to make our milk operation work. We haven't gotten to them all yet, but we go twice a week in conjunction with jujitsu, and Jill doles out the milk to the people from Cadillac. And so that milk will stay in the milk house and only be loaded out when Jill's getting ready to go to jujitsu. The other milk is for people who come through the farm, stop, go in the store, get their milk. They can visit the other freezers while they're there. They can get merch, Baker's Green Acres genuine merch. They can get lard. They can get honey. They can get chickens. They can get sausage. They can get pork chops. They can get hamburger now. So there's 2 locations for milk now. So it's nice, because then we're not congested in one fridge. And then sometimes, like today, Aaron comes on Tuesdays to get his milk. He's up to 3 gallons now. And he texted me. He says, "Hey, I can't make it today. Can I come tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." But in the past, that would have been a problem, because 3 gallons of milk, we don't have enough room. So now we're spread out a little bit. The process is better. And that's the whole point, is making the process better, continually making it better. All right. So let me see, before I get into what I want to talk about tonight, let me see who all's with us. McKenna Hicks is with us. Hello, McKenna. I know it's not really McKenna, but Keith Sutton's with us. Keith was down here. Was that last week, Keith? Yeah. He brought a pig down and used the shop, and pretty much did about 90% of it himself, because we were pretty busy. and he got to see that firsthand. I think Jill was instrumental. I didn't help really at all, I don't think. No, I didn't. I didn't even unload it. So that's the way it goes. I think I overpromised and underdelivered, but we got it done. Ballistic's with us. I don't know what he's saying, but then he says, oops. Think I seen Covey on Polyface Farm video. Okay. Covey. Belva's with us. That reminds me, Belva, we will be meeting tomorrow night. We will be meeting tomorrow night, our consulting call. So, and with the holidays next week, Christmas Eve, there's not going to be any Tuesday night show, and there will not be any consulting Christmas Day, obviously. I don't think anybody would come anyway. Okay, so next week is going to be kind of a blank thing. If you guys are on Facebook, I'm putting all my daily videos, which aren't daily. They're just when I think I want to show something, like the processing of this beef. I put that on the Baker's Green Acres Facebook. All right. And then from there, it gets shared over onto my Facebook. And then Jill, when she gets to it, she shares them over onto YouTube. And they're just, hey, I think somebody would benefit from seeing this. And I'll just whip up the old camera and go for it. And, you know, it is what it is. Just Me's with us and International Homesteading. All right. That reminds me. I think everybody knows it's been announced, but the DeClerics moved their homestead to another property. And after the hula days, I want to get down there and see that. And I know that they want us to come down, but Beth is getting ready to have another baby son. I hope you don't tell me you already had it, because I might have missed that. I don't know. I've been so busy with everything going on. So, yeah, right. The ghost. Better say Merry Christmas now than Merry Christmas all. Yeah. I know there's that controversy. Some 13-year-old kid called out old Jill Biden. She said, "Happy holidays." The kid says, "Why can't you just say Merry Christmas?" Right? So stuff is so dumb. No baby yet. Okay, next week. Maybe that baby will coincide with Cece's calf. Hope so. All right, so this whole, like, we live now, and we've seen this for a long time, but now I think you should start to acknowledge. I'm going to tell you what I do. I don't want to tell you what to do, but this is what I have done. And in the past, I've told you that I'm pretty good at pattern recognition. Like, when something happens twice and it's similar, it could be a different scenario, but the circumstances are similar, it gets my attention. And I see it all the time. And if you carry a phone around, and we all kind of do now, I'm almost ashamed of it, but it is interesting. There's interesting stuff on there. I learn a lot from the phone. A lot of good stuff. I learned some bad stuff too. Like some of the words I know now, I didn't know before. 20 years military service, and I'm just hearing some of these words for the first time. Yeah. So it's a mixed bag. I do a lot of leaving this plugged in my truck, and that way I don't hear it when it rings or when it beeps or anything like that. And sometimes when it beeps, I notice I start to salivate a little bit. Like, what's that all about? It's sort of like a response, Pavlov's dog response, and you want to like, oh, maybe something happened. Maybe they finally busted Hillary Clinton. I want to know, And yeah, it's fun, about as fun as if you were really into baseball and you wanted to watch the Red Sox, right? I used to think the Red Sox were pretty cool when I was a kid. I was on the Red Sox Little League team, and I used to watch the Red Sox. I remember the players, a lot of the players, Carl Yastrzemski, and we would watch the games. Although I remember getting psyched up to watch the games, I would get bored watching the games on TV. My dad took me, I think, twice or three times to Fenway Park to watch a baseball game, and they were real good seats, right behind the backstop. I even got a ball one time. The catcher, Bob Montgomery was his name, threw it, and I kind of, whoa, and my dad caught it, and he gave it to me. I was a little kid. But it's about the same, like what's on the phone. Now, we all went through the Wu flu. We all went through that. And you will still have respected commentators talk about it like it was real, like it was real. Yeah, that was pretty bad that they locked us down. That was pretty bad. But they'll talk about it almost with reverence, that we went through that. And good thing they came out with the what, or else we'd all been dead, and they keep going through this, right? And I don't know. I still think it was a bunch of baloney. I think most of it was in people's minds, right? I had friends that were very serious about wearing face masks and social distancing. I'll never forget the first time somebody mentioned social distancing. It was a friend of mine from the UP. I haven't seen him in a while, but he mentioned it. He says, I can leave my eggs out by the road, and the food bank can pick them up, and I can social distance. I'm like, social distance? Where did you hear that? But I don't listen to NPR, and I think he does. So people were really into that, the whole social distancing thing, and making sure they had their little face mask on when they went in. And I know people that actually posed on Facebook with their face mask on. I still, to this day, I think the whole thing was made up. They just put it out there, and people thought, gee, I wonder, do I feel warm to you? Oh, no. And then they got the sniffles, they go to the hospital, and then the protocol at the hospital seemed to degrade their condition to the point where they put them on a ventilator, and then what do you know, they're dead. So, and every night, I guess on the TV, they were showing how many people died, and I had family members that were scared, and I don't know, my gut reaction to that, and maybe it's just because of the life that I've led, was I mocked it. I made fun of it right off the bat. My family got together just like we always do. And then I set up a picture where we were in the backyard and we were all sitting 6 feet apart. And I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. So my gut reaction to it was, this is stupid. So let's make fun of it. And it kept progressing, but it still seems stupid. And luckily, I think what kept us from getting sucked in on it was we had real live things that had to be done here. Now, maybe that's me because I kept biting off the next the next process that we had to accomplish. We had to make it better. We had to fortify the position, because I have a vision for this place. So maybe I lucked out because of that. And I was just having to deal with reality. I never put a face mask on here. As I've told you guys, I put a face mask on one time and I regret it. I firmly regret it. It was getting on the boat to go over to Beaver Island to do a class. And I actually felt bad for the crew on the boat. They're just blue collar guys and they're just doing what they're told. And I didn't want a confrontation, especially because I'm going to have to be on their boat for 2 hours riding along. So I just pulled I had like a shirt on. I just pulled it up over my, like a gaiter. And it was just to appease them. I don't believe that it does anything. And then, I'm breathing their air, they're breathing mine. So I did it. And because I had this class to pull off, and we pulled the class off grandioso. It was good, real good class. And then on the way back, I was relaxed and I was like, I'm not putting a face mask on. And the captain of the boat confronted me as we were getting off the boat. And he was a total punk, right? But he was tripping on the fact that he was a captain and I wasn't. And here I am getting off the boat, and I'm thinking he's going to greet me and say, hey, because everybody knows what goes on that island. I thought he was going to greet me, so I had a big grin on my face. I was going to shake hands. He got in my face. And the only reason he did that is because I had worn it on the way over. So he knew that I had capitulated once, and I think he thought he could scare me into capitulating again. But that almost went south real quick. I mean, I was having these visions in my mind, like, I wonder what the jail is like up here in this county, because I thought for sure that I'm going to jail. But I got control of myself and I just walked past him. I wouldn't even say anything, but I'm sure he backed up a little bit because my eyes must have kind of burned holes through him, but I didn't say anything, and I certainly didn't raise a hand, but I was close. Because these are blue collar guys like me, and I don't think they should be, don't drink that Kool-Aid, you idiots. Don't, just do what you got to do, but don't put yourself in danger like that. Anyway, that was the time I wore the face mask, but I thought it was stupid. I still thought it was stupid, and that caused a very bad incident. Could have been really bad incident, but he was fired shortly after that for just being such a jerk to people on that boat. And I'll admit, I did not want to get on that boat again because of that incident. I just had a bad feeling about the boat. But anyway, okay, so now we got this thing going on, and I feel like I need to say something about it because it's causing the same reaction. The drones and the UAVs and all this stuff. And they're everywhere in New Jersey, right? So extraterrestrials have come down to Earth and they go to New Jersey, right? Now, if you're from the East Coast, New Jersey is kind of a place that you don't go. You don't go there. Sorry if you guys are from New Jersey, but I'm not sorry. New Jersey is one of those places when you go to a fast food place, they come out and they say, what do you want? I remember one time we went to Jersey for a pig class, right? And I'm all happy. The class is done. We're heading home, and I jump out to pump gas. And this guy comes out from the gas station. And he's like, what do you think you're doing? And this guy is a mess. I mean, he's a total mess. It's in the wintertime. He's got sneakers on, and they're just falling apart. I can see his toes. And he's just terrible looking, right? Just terrible. And he's just a total jerk to me. And he caught me by surprise. It's not like I'm going to say anything back, but he says, what are you doing? I says, well, I'm just getting my gas. And he says, That's my job. And I said, oh, sorry. We're out of Michigan and we pump our own gas. And he says, well, you're not in Michigan now, he says. And it was just comical. The guy was such a jerk, but was so into his job, I guess, or the fact that he could yell at me, whatever. I don't know. But I kept telling Jill, oh, people from New Jersey, holy smokes, they are the rudest people on the face of the planet. I know some that are not, but overall, New Jersey is known for being very, very rude people. And it's just a joke when you go there, But anyway, drones over New Jersey. And, the Pentagon is saying, well, we don't know who they are, but there's no threat. And, every commentator is coming out and saying, well, this is terrible. They could be carrying nuclear weapons, or they could be this, or they could be that. And if you have any insight into the way military aviation works and the whole purpose for the alert mission, this is a joke, because any vehicle that's above a certain weight range, and there's thresholds, and does not have a flight plan, is in dire warning, real danger of being turned into smoke, into a puff of smoke. That's what F-16s are for, and F-22s. And they have very capable 25-year-olds that are sitting around just waiting to go and get one. And all they need is an order from Cheyenne Mountain. And Cheyenne Mountain knows if a camel farts, right? And so the thought that this is not under control is stupid. It's ludicrous. And when you have like the likes of Chris Christie coming out and saying, yeah, this ain't right, we need some answers here. What they're trying to do is just create a reaction of the masses. It is just a perfect pattern of a psyop. We still don't have answers as far as the Wu flu goes. Like, did it come from a bat? Did it come from, a weapons laboratory here in the United States? Where did it come from? We still don't know. So as soon as they were done with it, it just dropped. It's over. Yep. Don't need to get a vaccine now. It's over. We got that one under control. Thank you, Anthony Fauci. So it's just over. And this thing right now, I would imagine if you're, an average citizen and you're living in New Jersey, I would imagine those people are petrified. I'm surprised that one of them hasn't been knocked down by some redneck that just says, I've had enough of this. I'm going to get the deer rifle out. I certainly would take a poke at one if I had the chance. Just because of the way they're being, like the commentators, like I listened to Megyn Kelly once in a while, and she was like, this is terrible. We know that they're not Iranians, but we don't know what they are. But they're not Iranians. And the Pentagon is saying that there's no threat. There's none that we know of. But they don't want to take one down and see where it was made and things like that. So if you're feeling a reaction from this whole thing, mission accomplished on their end. Mission accomplished. Let's say that there is aliens from another planet, which I don't believe. I can't believe it. There's nothing you can do. I can't see why aliens from another planet that are way more advanced than us would want to come here. They might catch a little Kamala Harris going, and then it would just, they get in their spaceship and say, let's go home. Let's go home, Pablo. We're lost. Let's go home. So yeah, but it's easy to say that. I realize this. It's easy for me to say that, and you can hear me, but then it's like, yeah, smart guy. Well, then what do you do? Well, this is what I do. And this is why I wanted this titled Focus. Focus on reality. Not on, you don't hear me saying focus on your reality or focus on your truth. Focus on reality. Which for me, this is what I do. You have to go out and search out reality. You have to search it out. Great example of reality is I need water to this shower head. It's not going to get there unless I cut this piece of pipe and put it in and get it sealed up. That's reality. There's a lot of realities all day long, a lot of realities. But the things that you encounter on here, a lot of them, well, it could be. It could be. There was a briefing the other night. Trump was on one of the news stations and he was being asked questions. And of course, they're still trying to besmirch him, right? And if you listen to it, he's just giving off the cuff answers. And he says, yeah, I mean, these agencies work for the people of the United States. People of the United States need to know what's going on. And she says, well, do you know what's going on? Have you? And he says, I don't want to get into that. And so he said, they need to be shot down. They need to be shot down. And I can almost guarantee you that if Cheyenne Mountain is not, and that's NORAD is not telling these 25-year-old F-16 pilots and F-22 pilots, knock them down. If they are not, they are being told, stand down. And there's really only a couple entities that can stand down Cheyenne Mountain. And it's that way by design, because if certain thresholds are met, they see certain things. They're not waiting for the president to say, okay, let's take him down. They're going to err on the side of safety. Oh, well, if you shoot one down, it could fall on somebody's house. Yeah, but that's the way it goes. It's like when 9/11 happened, shooting those airliners down is what should have happened. And there was a stand down order given. But 9/11 is one of those things where, like, Osama did it, or maybe, this company here did it, or it's another classic psyop that got a response from people to get mad at somebody else instead of who really did it. And who did it? Some guy in a cave over in Afghanistan with a Motorola radio. He was the one that did it. Yeah, let's get him. And so who benefited from that? The machine benefited from it. We got to, spin up the machine and go and drop a bunch of bombs and build a bunch of helicopters and all that stuff. It is not new. It is not new. All right. So I don't know what the stage of, I don't know anything. Like, I'm just looking at the patterns here. And although I do want to kind of see what's going on, I want to see some redneck take one down and then get the parts and show them on TikTok video or something like that. That would be entertaining. I am not going to let it interrupt what I'm doing, what I feel I'm supposed to be doing. I'm the head of household. I have something to accomplish for this family. I have something to accomplish for my livestock, for my business, for my friends, you all. I mean, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to watch the drones over New Jersey. How come there's no drones over Detroit? That would be a good place to fly some, get those people whooped up. No, it's too many guns. Too many guns. So that's what I'm doing. And notice I'm using the word focus. I'm not saying, just ignore it. No, I'm not going to say that. It'd be like ignoring the Red Sox. I don't want to ignore the Red Sox. People love the Red Sox. I love the Red Sox, or used to. I don't think they have all Spanish names now, so I haven't watched them in a long time. But I'm not going to say ignore the Red Sox. I'm saying focus on reality. That doesn't mean, like, if I'm focusing on, think about when you're burning a piece of paper with a magnifying glass in the sun, or ants or grasshoppers or something like that. I never did that. Brian Jacob probably did. But you're focusing that intense light on a pinpoint until you see something start to smoke. You're focusing it. That doesn't mean you're not saying, hey, there's an ant over here. Let's get this one. You can still see those things, but you're focusing your attention right there. So it doesn't mean like, hey, I'm gonna check out what's going on in New Jersey. Yeah, it's like checking out what's going on with the latest episode of whatever it is that you like to watch. Yellowstone. Is Kevin Costner going to get the girl again, or what? Or is she going to take a bath in a horse trough again, or what? Yeah, it's fun, it's entertaining, but it's not like it's gonna stop me from doing what I'm supposed to do. And I think we all have something that we're supposed to do, but this is another distraction, and it's a good one. It's a good one. It's kind of entertaining. Who knows? Aliens. I don't know. I find it's hard to take seriously because it's just so dumb. It's just so dumb. But our population is in a place, right, where they are looking for the next thing. I gotta say that I think the whole Kamala candidacy was sort of the same vein, because it seems way too scripted. She seemed way too dumb, way things, did way too many stupid things, just unbelievably stupid. So it seemed to me very scripted and intentionally weird, like even the guy that her running mate, that guy was just so weird, just so weird. The whole thing was weird. But I'm not saying that psyops are always bad. They're not always bad. I mean, we definitely use psyops on our children, a psychological operation. Like, I will tell my kids that, oh yeah, well, back when I used to spank Keith, I used to spank him with this board where I've got these nails wrapped around it, and barbed wire wrapped around it. And my kids will so I'm psyching them out. I'm letting them think that they could get spanked by that, and I don't think I've ever spanked Frank. I don't think I've spanked Jim, because they just think that it's reality. I mean, I will spank them, especially if they're mean to their mom. I'll spank them, but I don't think I've ever had to, and that is sort of a psychological operation, and that's not a bad thing. It's better than in lieu of corporal punishment. I have been called out on the carpet about one psyop that we ran against the older kids, and I just kind of mentioned it one time, and it took hold in their mind, and then they would ask me about this child that we supposedly had, and his name was Ralph. And I'd say he wasn't working out around here, and so we sent him up to live with the Indians at the reservation, and it kind of became sort of Baker folklore about Ralph, one of these kids that we had that he just wasn't working out. And I think they knew it was kind of not true, but it sure did work. We'd be going someplace when we lived in Montana, and I'd say, okay, we got to go through the reservation. And the kids would be like, we're not stopping, are we? No, we're not stopping. Maybe we'll stop to get something or drop something off. I didn't actually do that. So, yeah, I would say what I'm going to do with this thing is entertainment purposes. I'll see what old Bill O'Reilly has to say about the drones tonight. Maybe that'll be fun while I'm having a steak. But the reality is that steak in front of me is real. That's reality. The work that I had to do today, I had to do. I had to feed the cows. I had to feed the pigs. That was reality. We could have a breakdown. Ooh, that sucks. I was without my tractor for about 10 days because we ordered a part. And, Christmas time, lots of stuff in the mail. Might be a little late. 10 days, 14 days, I think maybe it was. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Feeding a bunch of cows, 1,000-pound round bales without a tractor is not good. It's not fun. So, yeah, the realities of this life that we've built they're reality. It's real. It's real live stuff. And I have to stay focused on these. Like this time of the year, I have to be looking at the weather. If it's going to drop to 10 degrees tonight, I got to make sure some stuff is taken care of. I have one of my cows right now. She's due the middle of the month, according to Dave. I need to be checking on her because the reality is if she drops that calf and it's 10 degrees out, if I don't get to that calf and she doesn't tend to it, which she's not a real good mom, we're going to have a calfsicle out there, and that's not a good thing. So the reality is I have to make sure this stuff is done. I got to make sure that there's wood at the house. I got to make sure, this, that, and the other thing have to be done. Real live things that if they're not done, we can wind up in a huge mess. Frozen pipes is a big deal. We have water running every place here, and it's pretty important that I'm able to get water places to feed to water animals, but I got to shut it down when it's getting real cold. I got to do that. If I don't, I can have a big mess on my hands. So that's my thing. I'd say going through this, enjoy the ride, but don't get too wrapped around. I'm not going to get wrapped around the axle about it. Hey, if it is aliens, there's nothing I can do about it. Maybe they want to. Maybe they could stay in the apartment. Maybe they could hang out. Maybe they're nice. Maybe they're nice people. Maybe we'll have some of them for Tribe Day coming up. Oh, this is my alien friend here. He's a nice guy. He's got some species that he brought from planet Orcon, and they grow really well in this climate. Maybe we'll get some good stuff, right? Yeah. So yeah, maybe Keith's right. Maybe we can adopt some of them. I'm running out of kids here, and so maybe I can get some nice little alien kids. Maybe they have 4 arms and they can work a little faster than my kids and more efficient. Maybe we could, it could be a good thing. We always think aliens are going to be, that'll be bad because they're going to stamp us out and take our stuff. Hey, if they can make it here from a planet far, far away, I don't think they want our stuff. Our stuff is, you seen our stuff lately? Has anybody else noticed? This? When you're driving at night, how many cars you see with only one headlight? Yeah, I've been noticing that lately. And that just shows you that, well, 2 things. There was a time when I drove an S10, Chevrolet S10 pickup. We were poor back then, right? And we were using the S10 for making deliveries of chicken to places, to restaurants. We were doing the whole restaurant gig. And I was once a week, I'd be making this huge loop. I was gone all day. I slept in that truck. But one of the headlights went out. And I remember like, I don't have the money to replace this. Well, we just will be careful about driving it at night. I went to Cadillac because I had to for something. On the way back, I got pulled over in town, right? And the cop was like swerving through traffic and then hit the lights, pulled me over, jumps out, got his hand on his gun. It's unbelievable. He says, you know, you got a headlight out? I said, I do. And he says, well, you going to fix that? I said, I plan to, just haven't got around to it. But he says, well, okay, I'm going to let you off with a warning this time. What a great guy. Let me off with a warning. And then I'm almost to my town on it's called the McBain Road, and I get pulled over again. Right. So no, you know, I had to replace it. There's no more. You can't go anyplace. You get pulled over by the cops if you have a headlight out. I don't think that's happening anymore. I very rarely around here see police, and they seem like they're going someplace. They don't seem like they're interested. Well, I went fuzzy in what we're doing as motorists. That's what I see anyway. And I also think that the Biden years were so bad that when people get a headlight out, they were like I was, like, well, am I gonna get Top Ramen noodles, or am I gonna replace the headlight? I'm hungry. I think I'll get some Top Ramen noodles. Down on old Joe, but I think things got kind of rough there. Gasoline was very expensive. It seemed like everything was through the roof. Used cars, insurance went up. Our property taxes went up. Everybody's did. I thought it was just me until I started asking around. Over what? You know, like, oh, they're going to work some new program that's going to benefit us. I think property taxes is theft. Honestly, I do. Like, I own it. Why do I have to pay every year? What does this go to? So anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Hopefully it comes up at the White House and they get it straightened out. Let's see. Got a few more comments on here. I'll comment on and then I'll get off. I got some steak to eat. Okay. Crunchy. Moving into the house in 2 weeks. Finally at the farm full time. Good for you. When am I going to see that picture of you and Robert F. Kennedy arm in arm? I got a feeling. Yep. I'm seeing Sean posing with all kinds of who's who type people. Aliens. Yeah, this is good. The ghost says aliens with nav port starboard lights. Yeah. So if they were doing, say they were aliens and they really wanted to check out the goings on in New Jersey, which I've already told you don't want to go to New Jersey if you can stay out of there. It's like you don't want to go to Detroit. There's nothing there except heartache. But if they wanted to check the place out, would they have navigational lights on? And point, Ghost, coming out of the aviation world, navigational lights are, you know, red and green. Green, GREEN, RIGHT. Right? Green goes on the right wing, right? And that's as the pilot is sitting in the aircraft. All right. So if those are unmanned, they would have a forward-looking camera, right? So you can see where you're going. If it's unmanned, you got to see where you're going, right? So it's as the camera is mounted where the pilot would be sitting. if it were manned. That's how they do that. And if you have a right side, the right side of the ship, even if it's a drone, the right side, RIGHT, GREEN, that's where the green goes. And then left, LEFT, I know it's 4, and red is RED 3, but it's closer than RIGHT, GREEN. All right, so that's why those are called nav lights. And usually in the tail, you will have a white. That's the tail. And on the front of the ship, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if it's a blimp or a dirigible or a Piper Cub or a Learjet or 747, they're all going to have the same navigational light setup so that when you're approaching that aircraft at night, you can know that you're approaching the left side or you're approaching the right side. You know, it's for navigational purposes so that other people can tell what you're doing, who you are, and where you're going. Now, if you were from Zircon, would you have Earthling navigational lights? No, they would have something completely different. They would, who knows? They would have like curb feelers or something out there, you know? They wouldn't have the same thing that we use on Earth. So if you go to Rhodesia, they have the same navigational setup as we have here in the United States of America, right? If you go to Botswana, it's the same. I don't think they build airplanes in Botswana, but I'm sure they fly them there, right? It's the same, right? That's an international type thing. And if you didn't want to alert the people and get them all bent out of shape like they're doing, then you would go with no lights. And you wouldn't hover at treetop level. You'd hover at 5,000 feet. At 5,000 feet, a small, even if it is as big as an SUV, it could be as big as a school bus. And at 5,000 feet, you wouldn't see it or hear it. You wouldn't see it or hear it. And I know that because our helicopter gunships put themselves in an orbit, right, from the target zone. Oh, no, not 5,000 feet, 5,000 yards. And they're out 5,000 yards. And at 5,000 yards, you can't hear an Apache. You can't hear a Black Hawk. It's too far, right? The density of the air absorbs it and you cannot hear it. And that way, they could be watching you with a camera and saying, yup, that's an AK-47 he's got in his hand there. And I'm sure you've all seen this footage that they take. And then they light off the chain gun, whatever it is, the Vulcan or whatever they have mounted up on that. Or they'll let out a surfaced air to ground missile, whatever it is they want, Hellfire, whatever it is. And you don't even know it's coming. Like you don't know there's a helicopter out there, but they can see you. So these UAVs could be at what would that be? 15,000 feet. And they can see you perfectly at 50. Story. I got a story for you. Let's see. I want to be careful with this. Okay, I'm going to leave some of this out. I'm going to leave some of this out. I was in a briefing one time about security briefing about moving around outside. And you may think that this letter that you have in your hand that nobody's around. Maybe it's got some directions on it, or it's got some operational planning or something like that is not necessarily top secret, but you don't want anybody else to see it, right? So I'm in this briefing one time. And and it was about satellite technology. And we were being briefed on How high they are, I don't even know if satellites are real, to be honest with you. I think there's more likely balloons, right? But I know that we fly aircraft at very high. I know that's reality, and they have real sophisticated cameras, and they can see things. They can see a lot of things. And so I'm in this briefing, and the briefer, he was ready for this because I think this has probably happened before. My uniform does not have my first name on it. My uniform has my last name on it. Doesn't have a first initial, none of that stuff. I was detailed to this briefing. I didn't go because I wanted to go. I was told, we need you to do this. And so I showed up, and then they tell us what we're going to be briefed on. So the possibility existed that they knew who we were coming in, but I didn't think so. So these were very briefing us on the capabilities of photography from above. And the briefer said something along the lines of, if you're walking across this parking lot, they know if you have sugar in your coffee. You're walking across this parking lot with a cup of coffee in your hand. They know if you have sugar in your coffee. And that got my attention because I thought that he said sugar instead of cream. I thought it. I didn't say a word, but I looked at him in a certain way. And he says, Mark, I mean sugar. That's a true story. That's a true story. And nobody knew how creepy that was except for me, because I think some of the other people we didn't know each other. They took people from everywhere. And nobody else in that room knew my first name. How did he know my first name? And there was 15 people at a conference table. I had no clue why I was there. But that's just how things work. They want you to know stuff, and they want you to disseminate it to your people, and they want you to be absolutely sure that people aren't just laying stuff down on the ground that could be read from above. Not that we handled a lot of classified or anything like that. I don't think I touched much classified my entire 20 years that I was in. I was prepared to, but I don't think I ever. Classified would be a document or something that would have to be protected at all costs. And if you had classified, you would know you had classified because you would have a gun with live bullets in it, to protect that classified. So I don't recall ever handling any classified. Maybe I did, but I don't recall it now. Maybe once or twice I did, but that was really creepy, and that's a true story. He said, they know if you have sugar in your coffee. And I just looked at him, and he said, Mark, I mean sugar. Something like that, because I thought he meant to say cream, because you could tell the difference between, I'm sure you get what I'm saying here, but that's how good our technology is. And this is a long time ago. I'm out of the service 20 years. And so it's a lot better than that. So these guys are obviously trying to get a reaction from the public. Now, what's that reaction for? Who knows? Do they trying to get more funding for military budget? Are they trying to get funding for anti-drone technology? I think we've got the best anti-drone technology that exists, because drones have been used on the battlefield for a long time. And United States of America wrote the book. Now when you watch what's going on in Ukraine, they're using smaller, more disposable, but we would never deal with that as American servicemen because we can jam those things. They're you know, they're so jammable, it's not funny. The drones that we use that are highly high at 15,000 feet, and then they drop a weapon, and then the weapon's free falling and it's guided, right? Some way or another. They have a bunch of different ways. And then a rocket motor fires off very close to impact. So it speeds up and it's moving. And they're about $1 million a shot, but they're very effective. And there's nothing you can do. If they target you, you are done. You're targeted as soon as somebody sitting at a targeting station here in the United States. As a matter of fact, I think we have one here in Michigan. I'm not sure anymore, and the drones are not flying from here, but they're controlled from here, right? So they're extremely sophisticated. So these things that are flying around with the blinking lights, that's to get a reaction out of the public. So the reaction that's happening right now was planned, and you have to ask the question, why are they doing this? Oh, Joe Rogan says that they're out there sniffing for nukes. They're missing a nuclear weapon. Yeah, I don't think so. We have airplanes, and this is common knowledge. I'm not divulging anything that fly at altitude, and I'm not sure what altitude exactly, but they are sniffers, and they sniff out radiation. What they're doing is they're taking samples constantly, and then they compare those samples. So radiation is not easily detectable, but we've got really good technology to find it. And sniffer aircraft are nothing new. Nothing new. We used them in Vietnam. We used them extensively in Vietnam. And they weren't sniffing for radiation. They were sniffing for whatever it is that they wanted to sniff for. Explosives, sometimes they'd sniff for like fish sauce, right? Because North Vietnamese troops, when they were in large concentrations, they eat a lot of fish sauce and they eat a lot of stinky stuff, so they could sniff them out and they'd find them. All right. Okay. So there we go. Let's see what else we got here. Aliens with nav lights. The current drone, Crunchy says this. I bet you this is going to be good. I just bet. The current drone regulations sunset tomorrow, and they are trying to pass new, more restrictive bills. Yeah. Every time they do something like this, it's to gain more control. You know, anytime you hear something new that comes out, like this push that they have, avian flu, they're trying that one again. They're trying it again. What do they want out of it? They want more control, or they want something. It's never to protect the public from what they say. Never, 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 never. And another thing that you'll notice too when they're running a PSYOP is they will report on it. You'll have a person, a talking head, that will report on it, and he'll be reporting on that. And then they'll go to somebody else to report the regular news. So that's a good way to tell that it's a PSYOP. For whatever reason, who knows? Timothy Cook. Have you seen Cash Punch? There's no spankier ever. Have you seen Cash Punch? Cash Punch. Is he punching one of those punching machines they see people break their forearms on? There's no spank. Have you seen Cash Punch? You punch your son? Terrible. All right. Timothy Cook says, it's the same way here in the West Texas with traffic police. Oh, we must have been talking my cop story. People are driving like idiots with loud exhaust headlights. Oh, I see what you mean. Same as Cadillac around. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. it seems like cops are not being pushed to pull people over. And if people don't get pulled over, they just don't. They don't fix stuff. I know. I'm like that too. Reaction is maybe to watch a new X-Files 90s movie coming soon. Yeah. Have you noticed Hollywood is having some rough times? Oh, Trump gave a briefing the other night and he announced that he's going to be suing George Stephanopoulos. I think he already did. And old Steffi's got to pony up $1 million. ABC's got to pony up like 14 million. He's going to be suing a pollster out of Iowa. He's suing CBS News, 60 Minutes, I think. And he's just pretty matter of fact. He's saying, but, I got to do it. Now, you might be saying, well, couldn't that be a psyop? Yeah, but it's missing the media component. Like, he did that interview. It got a ton of views because it's President Trump. He did get the popular vote, and people want to hear what he has to say. I do. I think he's legit. I do. I just get a gut feeling. I don't feel like making fun of him, not like I did like Joe Biden and Kamala. My gut feeling was they're an imitation. It's a script. But I don't get that feeling with Trump just because he talks off the cuff, right? I don't know. It's not like my gut hasn't ever failed me, because it has. But I'm more likely to go with my gut than what Megyn Kelly says. Although she's with Trump now, too. Maybe she found out I'm for Trump, so she's going to go with my gut feeling. Could be. I like old Megyn. I think. I don't know. She just seems more down to earth. I never really cared for her when she was on Fox News, but I don't think I really watched much Fox News. I don't watch network news. I like Bill O'Reilly just because he's from back east. I don't know. He's kind of rough around the edges. Who else do I like? There's this one chick out of she's out of Florida. Her name is Melanie King. She's a black woman. I don't know. I like her commentary. I just like her commentary. Melanie King. Yeah, I like her. I don't really like Joe Rogan. There's a lot of fluff in there that I'm not that interested in. Okay, I guess. Carlson, okay, I guess. Who else? I don't really like Sean Hannity. It's just too much. I'll always pass him by. I like Maria Bartiromo. Yeah, she's just on Sundays, but she's pretty good, I think. I don't know. That's about it. I don't go looking for a bunch of people to listen to. I got enough to do. All right. That's going to be it. Okay. I won't see you guys for a week. The consulting call is tomorrow night. Just a little bit about that if you don't know. If you're a Tribe Plus member, one of the perks that you get with Tribe Plus membership is you get all the videos that we put on the website, the Anyone Can Farm Experience website. You get all those, all the how-to stuff, all the deals on, boots and all the LEM equipment. You get a certain percentage off on that stuff. It's all stuff that we use. And you get consulting with me. And that consulting is via Zoom call every other Wednesday night. I know we've missed a couple. We've had some issues, but they're pretty productive calls. I know one of these days we've got to get some people from Tribe Plus to give a commentary on it and say, is it worth it? Would you hire Mark as a consultant in small farms um, issues, matters, yes or no. There's quite a few people that are Tribe Plus that never come to consulting. So they must have it all figured out. All right. I'm going to get going. Okay. I hope everybody has a good Merry Christmas. Stay safe out there. And remember,